This is an Xbox. This is one of today's modern video game consoles. It's a beautiful console, and it's fairly big too, but the graphics can be beautiful and practically realistic. The hookup for this looks pretty complicated, but is quite fairly simple once you understand what you're doing. Video games are one of the most popular forms of entertainment out there. People spend hours and hours of their day on video games. There are millions upon millions of different games out there for many different consoles, all in their own category and genre. I'm gonna take you through a very long journey on how we got to an amazing system like this today. Starting with one of the firsts and one of the greatest. I'm Dr. Retro, and I'm going to take you back in time through the world of video games. This is a Nintendo Entertainment System, or NES for short. Believe it or not, this ugly gray box is, in fact, one of the greatest consoles of all time. It's a simple design, and it plays simple games. But believe me when I tell you that this Nintendo holds up to even today's standards. Games today usually come as a form of disc. But back then, these Nintendo games came as a form of cartridge. These cartridges were a lot bigger than the discs that we play today. And they kind of resemble a VHS tape. That was the intention. The reason why these games resemble VHS tapes is because, well, we have to go a little further. See, the video game crash of '83 was a very large recession where stores started pulling video games off the shelves. That's where Nintendo came in and advertised their system as an entertainment system. The stores were skeptical, but because of this, they decided to sell the Nintendo, and because of that, it became a hit. There are some excellent games for the system. Games that might even be better than some of the games that we have today. The Nintendo also has its fair share of not so good games. I should also talk about the NES controller. You've seen this thing everywhere, on phone cases, wallets, and other merchandise, but this is where it all began. It's really simple. It's got a B button, an A button, a D-pad, select, start, and not to mention the really cool design, and of course the classic Nintendo logo. It has a really weird plug, but it fits inside the Nintendo perfectly. Another thing about this controller is the size of it. It's actually fairly small, and the rectangular shape can actually cause strain to your hands. The cord for this thing, however, is very long, so you won't have a hard time playing on your couch from your TV. The NES has a very large library with excellent titles. Honestly, I don't think it could get any better than this. I very recommend owning one of these. Although it may take some getting used to, as the games aren't as fast-paced, action-packed, or even as good-looking as the games we have today. But don't worry, there are many different games that might just suit your taste. After all, there are over 700 Nintendo games out there. I believe the NES is a great console with absolutely amazing games, and it's definitely worth checking out. Although, it's not for everyone. You have to understand that the Nintendo was made a very long time ago, and it was the first of its kind. It's only capable of so many things. You gotta give it a try. And who knows, you might even like it. Or, you're like me, who fell in love with it. Sigh, dude. This is a Nintendo. Yeah. Lit.